Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today I am daring to tell you guys the Terry Pratchett Guards reading order. If you're not new to my channel, you may have seen I did a massive video of the entirety of Discworld collection. That link is above me now. I definitely made at least one error, which was pointed out to me in the comments. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Carpet People is not part of the series with Truckers and Wings, so bear that in mind. For the amount of books I referenced, oh my god, that was a hard video to do. But if you don't want to watch the video of everything that is in the Pratchett Discworld and all the various different orders and series orders, this one is just for the Guards series. So I'm just going to let you guys know the reading order of the Guards series in the Terry Pratchett Discworld collection. Now, the Guards series is actually one of the most recommended series to read if you are new to Pratchett. I do differ. I would highly recommend this series, but I would also recommend the Witches series. I will do another video just of the Witches series reading order. I'll pop a link above me when that comes out. But we're going to start with the most popular, which is the Guards series. So let's get started. Before we get into that, don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. Your continuous support means a lot, so thank you so much. Book 1 in the Guards series is, of course, Guards. I'll read you guys the blurb from this one. This is where the dragons went. They lie not dead, not asleep, but dormant. And although the space they occupy isn't like normal space, nevertheless they are packed in tightly. They could put you in mind of a can of sardines if you thought sardines were huge and scaly. And presumably somewhere there's a key. Guards is the 8th Discworld novel, and after this, dragons will never be the same again. So this is where we first meet dragons, and it's when we meet Errol, who is one of my favourite dragons. In fairness, I love all the dragons in Discworld series. You have Dribble later on, but in this one is Errol. Now, it is the 8th book in the Discworld series in general. Pratchett is still quite new to writing, so it's not as good as later Guards books. However, you do meet Sam Vimes, you have Errol, you meet Lady Sybil. So some of the characters that are going to stay with you begin in this book. That is book 1 if you're going to read the Guards series in order. Book 2 is Men at Arms. Let me read you guys the blurb for this one. Be a man in the City Watch. The City Watch needs men. But what it's got includes Corporal Carrot, technically a dwarf, Lance Constable Cuddy, really a dwarf, Lance Constable Detritus, a troll, Lance Constable Angua, a woman most of the time, and Corporal Nobbs, disqualified from the human race for shoving. And they need all the help they can get, because they've only got 24 hours to clean up the town of this, and this is Ankh-Morpork we're talking about. This is the 2nd book. It is a murder mystery, and it is when you meet Angua and Detritus and Carrot, which again are gonna stay with you in the Discworld series. Now, something I will mention, and this is something Pratchett did talk about as well, is Angua really loses a lot of her clothes on the covers of this. Pratchett did comment on how on a lot of his book covers the women always seem to lose clothing. She's not like that in the book. Angua is the werewolf in the Watch. But this is the 2nd book if you're going to read the Discworld series. It is a murder mystery, and it is one where the gun is invented. Book 3 is Feet of Clay. Let me read you guys the blurb for this one. The 19th Discworld novel. Sorry, said Carrot. If it's just a thing, how can it commit murder? A sword is a thing. He drew his own sword. It made an almost silken sound. And of course you can't blame a sword if someone thrusts it at you, sir. For Commander Vimes, head of Ankh-Morpork City Watch, life consists of troubling times linked together by, well, more troubling times. Right now, it's the latter. There's a werewolf with pre-lunar tension in the city, a dwarf with attitude, and a golem who's begun to think for itself. But that's just ordinary trouble. The real problem is more puzzling. People are being murdered, but there's no trace of anything alive having been at the crime scene. So Vimes not only has to find out who done it, but how done it too. He's not even sure what they've done, but as soon as he knows what the questions are, he's going to want some answers. And the Observer says, fantastical, inventive, and finally serious. It's enjoyable as crime fiction, but the real attention attraction is the laughter waiting to be uncovered on each page. This one, I would say, by the 19th Discworld novel, Pratchett has definitely got the art of writing, so this one is a very easy and fun read. And in this, we are introduced to golems, which are characters I really love. This one does have themes of slavery and racism in it through the golems. The fourth book is Jingo. A weathercock has risen from the sea of Discworld, and suddenly you can tell which way the wind is blowing. A new land has surfaced, and so have old feuds. And as two armies march, Commander Vimes of Ankh-Morpork City Watch has got just a few hours to deal with a crime so big that there's no law against it. It's called war. He's facing unpleasant foes who are out to get him. That's just the people on his side. The enemy might even be worse, and his pocket disorganizer says he's got to die under things to do today. But he'd better not, because the world's cleverest inventor and its most devious politician are on their way to the battlefield with a little package that's guaranteed to stop a battle. Discworld goes to war with armies of sardines, warriors, fishermen, squid, and at least one very camp follower. Jingo is the 21st in Terry Pratchett's phenomenally successful Discworld series. It also says that Discworld is more complicated and satisfactory than Oz. It has an intelligent wit and a truly original, grim and comic grasp of the nature of things. Pratchett creates a brilliant excess of delectable detail. That's from A.S. Byatt, a Booker Prize-winning author. The Times says he is unfailingly a joy, and Express says Pratchett is a comic genius. On the back, Guardian, a sequence of unalloyed delight. In this one, we are going with the theme of war, and Carrot really shines in this book. I will also say that in this we are introduced to Nobby Nobbs as Betty, and Betty has my whole heart. If you know, you know. The fifth book in the Guard series is The Fifth Elephant, and this, I think Jingo was maybe my first 5-star in the Guard series, but this one is my first of the Guard series. I absolutely adored The Fifth Elephant, and this is actually a slightly newer copy because the paperback copy we had has been reread so many times by Matt and his dad that it was falling apart. So we actually ended up getting this secondhand copy because it was actually in slightly better condition. We do have a lot of these in first edition hardback as well, but if I have the paperback, I'll read the paperback. I digress. Let me read you guys the blurb of the fifth Guard series book. Sam Vimes is a man on the run. Yesterday he was a duke, a chief of the police and the ambassador to the mysterious fat rich country of Uberwald. Now he has nothing but his native wit and the gloomy trousers of Uncle Vanya, don't ask. It's snowing, it's freezing, and if he can't make it through the forest to civilization, there's going to be a terrible war. But there are monsters on his trail. They're bright, they're fast, they're werewolves, and they're catching up. The Fifth Elephant is Terry Pratchett's latest installment in the Discworld cycle, this time starring dwarfs, diplomacy, intrigue, and big lumps of fat. The Times says precisely balanced, excellent set pieces, a cracking comic thriller. In this one, it's our first time in Uberwald, and it makes Sam Vimes start to deal with his prejudice on vampires, though not fully. There are werewolves in it, and the dwarfs are fantastic. It goes into the themes of myths and legends, and it really relates back to Arthur's seat in Scotland, where no one knows if it's the original there or not, and no one knows if it's not the original where the original is. Plays on that heavily, but this one, plot-wise, 5 stars. Pratchett really got plot by this book. The 6th book in the Guard series is Night Watch. Commander Sam Vimes of the Ankh-Morpork City Watch had it all. But now he's back in his own rough, tough past without even the clothes he was standing up in when the lightning struck. Living in the past is hard. Dying in the past is incredibly easy. But he must survive because he has a job to do. He must track down a murderer, teach his younger self how to be a good copper, and change the outcome of a bloody rebellion. There's a problem. If he wins, he's got no wife, no child, no future. A Discworld tale of one city with a full chorus of street urchins, ladies of negotiable affection, rebels, secret policemen, and other children of the revolution. Just truth, justice, freedom, and a hard-boiled egg. In this one, Sam Vimes actually travels back in time and meets his younger self, and it's really fun because it sort of creates the legends in this one that are referred back to quite often in the Guards series. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it, and it has themes of rebellion, it has themes of civil war, propaganda. It's just superb. The 7th book is Thud, and in this one it goes heavily into racism, into immigration, and into generational trauma and prejudice. It is a story about the trolls versus the dwarfs. Coombe Valley. That was where the trolls ambushed the dwarfs, or the dwarfs ambushed the trolls. It was far away, it was a long time ago. But if he doesn't solve the murder of just one dwarf, Commander Sam Vimes of Ankh-Morpork City Watch is going to see it fought again, right outside his office. With his beloved watch crumbling around him and war drums sounding, he must unravel every clue, outwit every assassin, and brave any darkness to find the solution. And darkness is following him. Oh, and at 6 o'clock every day without fail, with no excuses, he must go home to read Where's My Cow with all the right farmyard noises to his little boy. There are some things you have to do. This has a review by A.S. Bayard at the Times. Anything in a Pratchett story is capable of being transformed into something else. From a joke to a profound observation, from a fact of our social world to pure and lively fantasy. And Scotland on Sunday says Thud has a serious theme, racial intolerance. That Pratchett can explore this while making us laugh is a tribute to the integrity of this created world. Extremely funny, but it's also very near the knuckle duster. Yeah, so true. This one honestly was sometimes hard to read. The detail Pratchett goes into with racial prejudice is insane, and yet it's still hilarious Pratchett read. There's one more book in the official Guards series. However, I will take this time to point out you can get Where's My Cow. I'd recommend reading it. This is the picture of it here. I don't actually have the physical copy. It's one I am looking for in secondhand shops. But Where's My Cow, mentioned in Thud, is the book that Sam Vimes must read his son, Sam, every night. So Where's My Cow needs a mention here. Another book I'm going to mention, which is not part of the Guards series, but I think could read within this series. The Watch does make an appearance in this book, but it is a standalone, and that standalone is Monstrous Regiment. It's a standalone of an army, but Sam Vimes does play a part in it. But I would kind of put this in the series, even though it's not part of this series. If you're going to read a standalone within this is the one I'd recommend. I'll read you guys the blurb for this one. It began as a sudden strange fancy. Polly Perks had to become a boy in a hurry. Cutting off her hair and wearing trousers was easy. Learning to fart and belch in public and walk like an ape took more time. And now she's enlisted in the army and is searching for her lost brother. But there's a war on. There's always a war on, and Polly and her fellow recruits are suddenly in the thick of it without any training, and the enemy is hunting them. All they have on their side is the most artful sergeant in the army and a vampire with a lust for coffee. Well, they have the secret. And as they take the war to the heart of the enemy, they have to use all the resources of the Monstrous Regiment. On the back, the Times says, like Jonathan Swift, Pratchett uses his other world to hold up a distorted mirror to our own. And like Swift, he is a satirist of enormous talent, incredibly funny, compulsively readable. In this, we have themes of sexism, and it's just such a good book, but it's not part of the series, but it is a bonus that I would say you could pop in here as a little side note if you want to read another Pratchett, but leave this series a little bit, then go for Monstrous Regiment. Ah! I dropped it! No. Dropping everything now. And the last book in the Guards series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Book 8 is Snuff. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a policeman taking a holiday will barely have had time to open his suitcase before he finds his first corpse. Commander Sam Vimes of the Ankh-Morpork City Watch is on holiday in the pleasant and innocent countryside, but not for him, a mere body in the wardrobe. Rather, many, many bodies and an ancient crime more terrible than murder. He is out of his jurisdiction, out of his depth, out of bacon sandwiches, occasionally snookered and out of his mind, but never out of guile. Where there is a crime, there must be a finding, there must be a chase, and there must be a punishment. They say that in the end, all sins are forgiven, but not quite all. On the back, we have some reviews. The Times mention comic fantasy, and Terry Pratchett is the first name that comes to mind. Behind the fantasy, he looks at very real contemporary issues, It's about life, the universe, and everything. Independent, it's as funny as Woodhouse and as witty as Way. Daily Mail, satirical, historical, fantastical, and irresistible. And The Guardian, the secret of Terry Pratchett's comic fantasy isn't so much the wackiness of the fantasy as the reliability of the comedy, undimmed, triumphant, and exuberance. The last one. And that is it for the Guards series of the Discworld in reading order. So just to recap, we have Guards, Men-at-Arms, Feet of Clay, Jingo, Fifth Elephant, Night's Watch, Third, then Where's My Cow as an option, and Monstrous Regiment as an option, and finally number 8, Snuff. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If I see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr. I post bookish pictures as well as some writing tips and unboxings on there. If you are interested, I am considering challenging myself in not only doing the series reading orders of the Discworld series within the main Discworld collection, but also, for example, what characters appear, so we could follow Sam Vimes and what Discworld books he actually appears in. This is a bit of an undertaking, so do comment down below if that's something you'd be interested in. I can't decide if it would be good or not, but it would be a lot of work for me. So, if you want to see me sweat, comment down below and request that I do a video on that, but if not, I'll continue with these series videos and continue my Discworld series readings. I only have Snuff left to read in the Guard series, and I am terrified of that prospect. I'm getting too far through these guys. Too far. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!